dog stepping, I'm on big dog status. Big dog stepping, I'm on big dog status. Big dog stepping, I'm on big dog status. Big dog stepping, I'm on big dog status. Yeah, know he got a baddie, huh? Told him turn the camera on. And if a nigga broke, then a nigga gotta go. Big dog stepping, yeah, I got him for the low. Say they don't want smoke, but I got some more. Bring it to your front door like a domino. Trapping gotta make it happen. Do the dash when I'm sliding in the static. Hey, sticks and poles.
Oh no, my bad, family. We can't do that. We can't do that. I don't like it choppy. It's choppy. It's chopped and screwed. What the fuck is going on with my internet? No. We're not gonna do it like that. Yeah, we ain't gonna do it like that, internet. All right, let's rewind and try this thing again.
Big dog stepping, I'm on big dog status. 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 Yeah, know he got a baddie, huh? Told him turn the camera on. And if a nigga broke, then a nigga gotta go. Big dog stepping, yeah, I got him for the low. Say they don't want smoke, but I got some more. Bring it to your front door like a domino. Trapping gotta make it happen. Do the dash when I'm sliding in the static. Hey, sticks and poles, I'm never lacking. Big dog stepping, I'm on big dog status. 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 Yeah, big dog, CEO, I'm the boss. Yeah, I paid the calls. Back in the mode, ran it up and I've been taking off. 20 on me, none less. I ain't talking Andrew Jackson. Spent the dub on promo, told smokes time to get active. Hustling that switch, yeah, I been grinding, been trapping. See how quickly I can get the racks and I'm stacking. Blow money like Meech, I got them packs and I'm taxing. Walk in Louis V and spend a bag on some baggage. Big dog status, big dog stepping, I'm on big dog status. Big dog stepping, I'm on big dog status.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Sweet Poison. Big dog status. Big dog status, man. Y'all make sure yes, y'all come in here, y'all click that link, join the panel, talk some shit with me. Shout out to everybody who's tuning in and tapping in right now, man. Appreciate that. Let's go.
Big dog stepping, I'm on big dog status, yeah. Big dog status, big dog status.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Sweet Poison, man. Shout out to that sister doing her thing. Shout out to that sister doing her thing. Shout out to y'all, all of you guys, man. Thank you. Another episode of Rich Rhetoric, man. We in the building. Man. Yeah, man. We are in the building, man. It's a Friday night, Saturday morning for some. But hey, listen, wherever you are and however you are listening, I appreciate it. You know what I mean? I couldn't do it without you. I ain't gonna lie, I wouldn't want to do it without you guys. Fuck it. I wouldn't I would not go live. But yeah, man, we here. We are here, man. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button as you come in the building. I got like I said, you can join the link there. I also got another little clip on the show the family. Where we at? Let me see. All right. Let's see how this one works at. Who we got in the building? Brother Kel.
Brother Born, big up, man, and the American family.
Yes,
African American family, big up, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Foundational Black American family.
Foundation. My mistake. Excuse me for that. Big up to the
Yes, yes, yes,
foundation.
yes. We
Yeah,
got
man. Big up
far,
to them.
far away from Africa. Far away from Africa.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking.
just
I'm
not in
joking.
just not in the DNA, right?
I was just joking. He said it's still in there, right? We still got some African in us, Kel. I give you that. I give you
I was gonna say, Born man, I was listening to that podcast with you and the brother interviewing Sweet Poison. Very professional, brother. I liked it, man. Because as I said, when I got time, I like to log into our people's podcast. You know what I mean? But I did watch that show, man. So big up to you and the other brother, man.
No, I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Kel. I appreciate that, Kel. And I will because I know I have another audience that I'm
Mhm.
targeting that I will start having, those type of guests. Like I got a young brother right now. He's a barber, and
Okay.
he has his own clothing line.
Wow.
I see him. He does a lot with the Nation of Islam too.
Okay.
So yeah, I am
Hmm.
gonna also have what people would call, quote unquote, my black empowerment guest.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because that's me.
Mm.
Like I like doing these artists, these musicians, right? Because I come from that. And plus I
Yeah.
know our brothers and sisters need to be heard on the music.
Hmm.
So yeah, I do want to have a platform for that, but I also want to have a platform where I can bring my brothers in. I have brothers that has organizations and
Hmm.
I think I said this before, man. We got to give the people the medicine, even if we have to put a little cherry flavor in the
I hear
medicine.
that one. Hmm.
You know
Hmm.
what I
I
mean,
hear that
Kel?
one. Yeah. Yeah, I hear that one.
Yeah, our
Yeah.
people want to hear hip hop music, ratchet,
Hmm.
controversy, all of that. But we also have to find the time to give them some upliftment and some empowerment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
salute. I see three Shiffer. What's
Big
up,
up
brother?
panel, big up panel.
Yeah,
We've
Yes,
got some
Al.
good
Big
news.
up. Yes, brother.
Big
Schiffer
news.
article.
we
Yeah.
got. All right, I
Schiffer
see three.
done.
I see three.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I see three. Hold that thought. All right. I see three. Big news. We're gonna get to that, brother. Thank y'all for
Okay.
showing up. Thank y'all for showing up for real, for real, for real.
Yeah, big up, big up.
Showing up. I want to play. Let me get one more snippet, and this
Uh-huh.
snippet right here is from the Born Rich Club podcast that Brother
Yeah,
Kel
man.
was
Big up.
about. I'm
Drop
also
that.
dropping the link so you can check out the podcast here.
Hmm.
Hold on. Let me type in the podcast here. All right. So this is the link for the podcast. If you haven't subscribed yet, get your ass over there, subscribe. So yeah, fellas, let me play this little clip. What I
Hey,
like to
Born
call it.
Rich, when we gonna do a podcast, man?
What you say, Schiffer?
When are we gonna do a podcast, man?
Well, we're gonna set that up. We'll set that up, man. We can do
No,
something
but
like
we
that.
gotta change the name of it. It can't be the Born Rich, but it's gotta be
No, we'll
Born
do
Poe.
something. No, we'll do something totally different. I'm a man of different
You gotta
labels.
do one for the Poe kids, man. Born Poe podcast, man.
It ain't even that. It's Born Rich. We're Born Rich. You know, it's funny. It's funny, Schiffer. That's funny. Y'all said that. It's a podcast that's about to drop soon. Some people out of Atlanta. We sit down with some people out of Atlanta, and they asked me about that name, and I told them it's not Born Rich with like money or fiat money or anything. It's born rich in morals, born rich in character, born rich in empowerment and
That's
pride
right.
of your
That's
people.
right.
I was
That's
born
right.
rich in all of that, man. Like, I mean,
Right.
let me tell y'all this, man. I know black people, we get a bad name, but I was raised in a 2-parent household.
So
You know what I
yeah.
mean? I know we get the baby
Still Born
daddy.
Rich.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
get
Born
all of
Rich.
that,
I tell
but
you,
no. So my father and my mother,
Mhm.
I would never act like my mother didn't instill morals and character in me. It's me.
Yeah.
I am the man of my father and my mother. I am.
Mhm.
I Born Rich. No, it makes sense though.
What's up,
If
brother?
your dad's name's Richard and you're little Richard, then you definitely Born Rich.
Yeah, you look more like Little Richard. I think your daddy name was Sammy. Sammy Davis looking ass nigga, man.
You know that was funny, man.
On the reels though, I do like the Born Rich Club. I think we were talking about it before, brother Born, man. You know, born rich, synchronizing a successful path. I do like the label, brother, and I do like, as I said to you, I log into your podcast, and I love the way you interview our people. I love the way the body language and how you keep them engaged and relax. And
Yeah.
obviously, I'm a 70s baby, man. So to see this social media and how it's been put forward, and how you can literally be a director on an iPhone now. You can do
No, it's a
music
fact.
video. And so to me, brother, seeing all these things, man, it's like I appreciate our people as much as possible, using these platforms, man. You know what I mean? True Illuminati, General Snipes,
Yeah.
Born Rich, you know what I mean? Big up to Q Butter, Pan African is big up to him,
Yes.
and the
Yep.
rest.
Yep.
You understand, brother? And
The door is open for
yeah,
the door is open for, I guess, what we would call alternative knowledge, right? And when I say
yeah,
alternative, I say alternative means alternate knowledge that you learned in school. You know what I mean? Like I tell
yeah,
people all the time, I'm a late bloomer. So like I didn't get this knowledge until I was a grown ass man. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
then on this internet, you talk to people that say, yeah, my pops was a Pan-Africanist. So
right,
all
right.
I heard growing up was Pan-Africanist, or my father was a Rasta. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? Now, if
Yeah,
you want to
yeah.
say Christian, yeah, my father was not really a Christian, but I didn't get though. He didn't really tell me a lot of shit that was really going on in the streets and shit like that. So I had to get the American indoctrination.
Right,
So,
right, right.
but this internet and this social media opens up to where you can say, "Oh shit, they taught
Yeah,
me a bunch
man.
of bullshit in school." So now I have to go out and find my own,
Yeah,
get my
man.
own knowledge, man. That's
Yeah,
good shit, Kel. But let me play this, family. Like I
yeah,
said, man,
man.
y'all check out the podcast. I just put the link in the chat. Click on that. Get over there, shop around, subscribe. First and foremost, subscribe. And then you can shop around. We got some good content, a lot of different topics, man. We talk about everything from music to movies to black culture to relationships to empowerment and
Yeah.
a whole bunch of shit, man. But let me play this, family. Let's get to it.
And I want to ask you this. Give me, and it don't have to be in Nashville either. I want to ask, who are your, like, who influenced you? Give me your 5 top rappers.
right now. Or
Yeah.
just period.
However you feel.
Nashville, I ain't gonna be none from Nashville. And I don't just mean it like that. But
Nah,
I'm just
once that
saying.
we know you don't mean it like that.
Nah, I don't know. She shitting on you hoes,
I'm-
man. Ain't
I
none
ain't
of you
saying it
hoes
like that.
ready in Nashville, and
No.
Sweet Poison
I'm
said
saying as far
that.
as my
Damn.
influence, like influence musically, like Wale, you feel me?
Oh, okay. Damn,
Uh,
that's okay.
Future, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Rest
in the backpack.
Who
I
else?
love
I mean,
saying
Jeezy, Wayne, I grew up on all of them.
Damn. She
Boosie.
said Boosie.
Yeah, like all of them. Like I like a lot of men artists, just because I feel like I can relate. I just grew up like that, so I'm really from the hood, like
Not women. Now, the women gonna be upset that you went through all these
That's
names and it
fine.
wasn't no Trina, Mia X, Rest in Peace, Gangsta Boo. It wasn't none of that on that list.
Yeah,
So
because I didn't listen to them like that. Like I listened to them like probably on features and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Trina, I did listen to Trina.
Yeah.
She was cool, but I'm still killing Trina right now. So she cool though. I'm just saying.
you heard it here first. You heard it here first. She is killing Trina.
I'm just
Fight
saying.
back, Trina.
But listen, I ain't taking nothing from her. I respect the game. You feel me? I
Hey, that's
respect
hey,
that.
that's some big shoes to say that. I mean, hey, I'm with you.
Bar for bar, lyric, man. We
Yeah, I'm
can
with
listen to.
you.
We can play my shit. We can play Trina shit. I'm just saying.
Verses. If I do a verses with you and
feel me?
Trina,
I'm just saying she just Trina, so that's that. But I'm just saying.
No. You don't just that. I'm gonna listen to it now. The snow.
That's what I'm.
Y'all right here. Yeah, I'm
I'm
gonna listen to you. I'm
saying.
gonna listen to her.
Do it.
I love that as a competitor, right? If you're in this game of hip hop, you have to be a competitor.
Entertainment and fun.
He love this shit.
Yeah, because you got to feel like you're the best.
Boo
I feel like it's a
fucking
man.
call me tonight.
Yeah.
She said this.
I'm
listening right now.
I'm gonna do a clip. I'm doing a clip.
got on.
I'm doing.
Hey, Trina, go to number 7 on Trina,
and then
bro.
they trying to get me to open up for Trina too in Memphis, like the end of this month. That's what's funny.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how that gonna work. Yeah.
Because I'm gonna be tagging the hell out of Trina every clip we drop.
I mean, you do gotta have that type of
yeah, I fuck with Trina though.
mentality. I mean, when I was on when I moved my feet, I mean, I was like, hey, yo, I'm better than right here though.
Yeah. And it's okay.
And it's
and
okay
if
to
you
think
feel
like
any type
that.
of way, that's on you.
Nah, it's okay to think like that.
What's up? It's your girl Sweet Poison. I'm rocking out with my guys, Born Rich Club, Boost with Lano. Y'all know what's up. Cashville, baby, we up.
So yeah, man, y'all make sure y'all get over there and support.
Yeah, man.
You ain't doing shit else, man. Support. Get over there and subscribe. Help your brother Born Rich, man. If you fuck with
it looks good.
a black
It looks
content
good.
creator, you know what I mean? I'm sitting down with, I know it's local, but it's gonna just grow and grow and get global, man. Like Schiffer said, we're gonna eventually have to do something with Schiffer, and we're gonna take this thing global, man. We're going global with it, man. We going
Yeah,
global with it though. Schiffer, let me do another promotion. So Schiffer, I do have something in works, man, with my Hebrew Israelite brother that I had called on the phone last time, Schiffer.
Okay.
So I am putting something in work. Let me pull up the text message. So we're looking, it's probably gonna be on a Sunday. He just said, he has to go and get it approved by his captains and generals. He's in the
Okay.
ISUPK. So he said he has to get the it's a debate conversation debate. You know what I mean, Shiva? But he has
That
to get
sounds
it
good.
approved. But we're looking at a Sunday probably 11:30 p.m. y'all's time, Shiva.
Okay, sounds
Yeah.
good, man.
Yeah, it'll probably
11:30
be like
p.m.
right after. I know Sniper does a show on Sunday. It'll probably be right after Sniper and Mary Jen show on Sunday. But yeah,
Yeah,
but this is the
that
three
sounds good.
topics I text to him because he asked me what was the topics. I'm gonna read them out to you. I said the Immaculate Conception. Right, he's a Hebrew Israelite, and he thinks it wasn't an immaculate conception. Somebody actually had sex with Mary. What do you say to that, Schiffer? You agree? Disagree?
I think it's gonna put him in a precarious position to even attempt to prove that.
Okay. Well, he's gonna prove it. Well, attempt to prove it. All right. And the second question: Were there other people on the earth at the time of Adam and Eve?
See, this one is it's a very complex one because depending on what Bible you're reading and what version you're going by, how you're interpreting it.
Yeah.
Like Black Jesus Minister said the other day, some might interpret the first part of Genesis as a different man to Adam being created and a different woman to Eve being created. But he says that, the first part doesn't go into detail, and then Genesis 2 is just giving you the detail. But then if I read it in a Septuagint, I believe it would be a lot easier to misconstrue if that is a misconstruement of the word. Because within the Septuagint, I believe the way the words are emphasized in the first part of Genesis, it may seem like it's definitely talking about a different man to Adam. It may seem that way
Well, yeah.
because of how that man is created and he's placed in the world. But Adam is placed in the garden specifically. So
No.
because
Okay, Schiffer. So I did
yeah,
ask him a quick question because I did misinterpret. I mean, I misspoke and I said the garden. He said no. Adam and Eve were in the garden, right? They were in the garden, but at the time they were in the garden, it was other people still in the world.
see, this is where I'm going with this. I think that interpretation is a Septuagint, a way that the Septuagint seems to interpret things. And if that's what he's going by, it would be difficult to argue. It would be difficult to argue against him on that point. But at the same time, we've heard the argument from Black Jesus Minister to the contrary as well. So we know both sides there.
I got you. And then the third question he's gonna break down: how can Jacob and Esau come from the same womb but be a part of two different nations? That was your
Now that
question,
one
right?
there, I
Was your
agree with him
question.
on that one. That's one where we're definitely going to agree.
No, you're gonna
And
disagree. You're gonna disagree
why'd you say that?
because the ISUPK says, Jacob and Esau are from two different nations. They are two different. You said you're gonna agree with that?
I think that no, we're not going to disagree because by default, the brother would have to agree that these two people are brothers. So two brothers do not denote two separate nations, especially if they got the same mum and dad. If they had, separate mums, different mums, then possibly we could be going
Yeah,
down that kind
of course, we know that. But we're saying Jacob and Esau had the same mother, right?
That's right, and dad and father.
And father.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. All right. So that brother's gonna break down how they are still from two separate nations. Same mothers.
I think that one's going to be a hard one for him as well. I think that's where the tide turns. That's where it's like the argument starts to sound a bit crazy. I'm going to be honest with you.
I know. And I got that. Yeah, I know. I got that question from you. So he said he's willing to come on, a pause. He's willing to arrive on the panel.
Yeah, don't come on me. Shit. Pause.
Yeah, no. He's willing to join the panel and have a discussion about that. And he said he has the scriptures to prove it, to prove his points. So
100.
So that's something you guys can look forward to, man. I know people was itching for the debates to come back, and I'm noticing when I'm going on a lot of YouTube channels, the debates are coming back. So we're gonna get the debates back popping, man. Well, like I said, I'm gonna let the Hebrew Israelite brothers come and speak their truth, because I'm gonna always ask people, how does this benefit Black people as a whole?
How are you going to organize this debate, though, Bourne? Because
Shiffer, it's gonna kind of be like it is tonight, but I'll be the moderator. Now it's gonna be mainly him coming out. Pause. Let me just say it like this, Shiffer. So I'll probably set it up like this. I'll probably have him. He'll be on the panel first. I'll ask him maybe one of the questions. He's gonna bring out scripture. You know how the ISUPK brothers do. They're he's gonna bring out scripture. We'll let the brother read his scripture. And I told him this. It's 10 people that can fit on the panel. So I'll probably have like 4 of his people, and then it'll be me, and then it'll be like 4 other people that can ask questions and you know what I mean, Schiffer?
Yeah.
Because I know you wanna ask questions in real time. So
I think Brother Kel wanted to say something though, if that's all right.
Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I just wanted to say big up to the Black Betterment podcast every Friday, 10 p.m. Brother Raven and the rest of the Black Betterment team, and big up to the Born Rich Club, and big up to Shakara's podcast, the Al Kabilan. Just want to say that. Big up, Shiva. Appreciate it.
Yeah, big up all of the podcasts for real.
Yeah,
all of the brothers that are doing the work.
Hey, Kel, if you got the links, man, put the links in the chat for the people, man. Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Share the brother shit, man. Everybody get over there and subscribe, man. Hell yeah.
Gordon,
What's up?
You see why I asked how you're gonna run this debate, yeah?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be in a situation like I was in earlier, where it's like, because it wasn't a planned debate as well. I think I can't really put it on Brother Jedi and say that I can't say it was unfair to that regard, but because it was unplanned, it got a bit upside down. I'm trying to make points. Other people are, trying to make jokes, and
it won't be that. No, it won't be that, Shiffer. And I know I'm a jokey type of guy. You know what I mean? But I am going. If it's a planned debate, even I won't even do the jokes. I just want to moderate and learn, because
that's good. As long as it's going to be like that, then I'm in, because I feel like a lot of the times where I've been in a situation where I could actually clarify some information, it gets pulled. Like people want to pull the context of the conversation in different directions to try and bamboozle the audience. Because it's like what I was trying to say to MJ earlier. If they had done their due diligence, what they would have done is, when I kept telling them that they're dealing with Roman inferior law, rather than telling me, oh, we're under the British law system, go and find out where the British law system has its roots. Go and find out when the British law system divided itself from church and state. And if I remember correctly, that's like Henry VIII, which is after when Jupiter was talking. She was talking like 12 something AD or something like that. Yeah, or whatever she was talking. Now, when we go and look into these things, what we're going to find is when Britain decided to enact common law, there were times where common law was inefficient to deal with certain matters. So on those occasions, they would refer to Roman law. And another thing I wanted to point out to them that I don't think was getting through is that
Schiffer, I don't really want to continue that conversation, brother. You gave me the outline of what you don't want the debate to be, brother. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't really like that conversation. Had that shit with Mary Jen them tomorrow, bro. I don't really want to get into the details of the conversation, but I do understand what you're saying.
But I'm just meaning in the sense of you see when someone's making a point, and they say, for instance, like what Mary Jen said, she says, no, England is based on common law. Someone shouldn't be allowed to make a point like that and it just go amiss. It should be able to be challenged in the sense of what I'm saying. Like, as long as I'm able to challenge a point like that and say, okay,
absolutely, Schiffer,
well,
but
if you're saying it doesn't,
Schiffer, you have to listen to this,
where its roots come from.
Schiffer, in a debate or a conversation, you have to be able to have bullet points, or what they quote unquote say, stick a pin in that. Right? When he says something you disagree with, that's noted. You note that and you let the brother finish, and then you'll be able to say, hey, man, look, you said previously A, B, C, and D. You understand what I'm saying, Shiva? I can't. It's gonna get chaotic if I just let every time you hear something you don't like, you jump in and interrupt. We can't.
Yeah, no, brother, that fully makes sense. But you see, when you say bullet pointing, I totally agree, because what I would have liked to happen is, rather than being in a situation where, I'm the only one that's answering questions and, a million, well, not a million, but loads of questions are being quick fired at me and I'm having to answer, about 30 points all at once. If it's bullet pointed and then I've got time to go through each one, much easier. And I think the same for the other opposing party as well. If he's got any things that I want to challenge in his statements, then I'll bullet point them. And as long as he's not going to be able to deviate from, the bullet points and, just start making random arguments, I'm done.
Yeah, and what I'll do is I'll keep it, I'll like I said, I'll be moderating, so I'll try to keep it within those boundaries. I just don't want a bunch of back and forth, because at the end of the day, I have to be honest. Like, he's a guest. He's coming in as a guest on my podcast, and people have questions for him. So I can't let this man. I have 3 specific questions. I can't let people introduce another 9 questions to the brother.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Without having some type of moderation in between. So that's what.
Well, the questions will only be based on the information he presents. I wouldn't question him on anything outside of
so. Exactly, Schiffer. So what I'm gonna, I'm gonna do the best I can to not let it deviate, and I'm gonna do my best to not let it just be a bunch of questions coming at the pause. Coming at the brother just quickly. You know what I mean? And people just
that makes sense.
I'm gonna make sure it's going to be, like I said, and then the other people just have to kind of realize that he's a guest. Like I keep saying, he's a guest. People have questions for him, his belief, his stance. They have questions about it. But we're gonna do it right, man. Hopefully that brother goes through the right channels and he gets it approved, and we're gonna do it, man.
I think IC3 left, Is he gone?
Yeah, he probably didn't want to talk. IC3 said he had some good news. I think he really wanted to just get his good news out. But IC3, you gotta be a little patient, brother. Just be a little patient.
You know what?
I mean, jump back on the panel, IC3, because
I got a feeling. Do you know what, Born Rich? When you said you didn't want to talk about that subject, he disappeared. So I got a feeling maybe that might be why. I'm not entirely sure.
What subject? What subject, Shiva?
The one that we was discussing previously on Chilluminati. But obviously, I'm not that.
No, IC3 wasn't on there. I mean, if he was silent. I don't think he wanted to discuss that.
No, maybe he was just listening.
No, hell no. IC3 came in and said he had an update. I know what IC3. IC3 has he wanted to show me some business. He's walking into businesses in London. You guys should be aware of this. My brother IC3, my uncle, salute that elder. Love that brother. I got a lot of love for IC3. He is walking in random shops in the UK and making them put up the IC1 through IC7 racial codes in their place of business. That's what IC3 is doing, and I hate that the uncle jumped off because I want to see the new shit. I'm invested now. IC3, you showed me the first round of videos of you walking in Arab stores and Asian businesses, and you walking in these places and telling them to put up the fucking racial codes.
Why though? I don't get it.
He thinks you guys should know it.
And he's right. He's
You should
absolutely
be
right as
familiar
well.
with it.
Yeah,
It's white
it's true.
supremacy. Go ahead, Kel. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kel.
No, you're absolutely right, and that's one of the amazing things with the Elder IC3 is that he understands the political science of the code, what the system identifies us, and a lot of us don't realize that.
That's a fucking fact, Kel. And IC3 has never wavered from that. That's been his mission, his agenda since I was watching him in Speaker's Corner. I didn't get IC3 at first. Listen, guys, I'm a guy in America, man. Can you imagine when I first saw IC3 on the video in Speaker's Corner? I didn't know what the fuck he was talking about. But then the more I talked to IC3, I said, oh shit. He is telling you how the system is a system of white supremacy. That's what he's doing. They categorized everybody by racial identity codes, and when the cops talk in their private meetings or say they code words, they just call you Schiffer or IC3.
Yo, born rich.
We got an IC3. Hey, listen, hold on real quick. We got an IC3 looking suspicious on the train. I need officers here immediately. And you know what? When he say IC3 Schiffer, the officers arrive immediately.
You see what you just said though, yeah? I totally agree. Because I think this is something that everything is relatable to the Bible, in my opinion. Yeah, every situation, even the law, is all relatable back to the Bible. When we look at for instance, the Romans in the Bible, the Romans believe they have dominions over others. Yeah, they believe they have dominions over the Israelites and all sorts of people. And obviously, if you're a Roman, you have different rights in comparison to a non-Roman. So even if you look at the situation with Paul, where, you know, they started whipping him or whatever they were doing to him, pause. But then they found out that he was a Roman. So the prefect or whoever had ordered him to be punished, when they realized he was a Roman, they got scared because they're saying, well, we can't treat a Roman the same way we can treat one of them. And then that's why it was important, the conversation we was having today, to identify and understand that the laws that we're living under today in this day and age are derived from Roman origins, yeah, firstly, and the rest of the laws are not actually laws. They're codes, they're statutes, they're acts. And an act is exactly what it says on the tin. It's like an actor. It's not real, it's fake. So all of these fake laws, are made to protect the white folk, especially the white folk and the folk on the higher end of society. So this is why
I give you that, Schiffer, and that's why the whole argument you guys were having together, it was just which law or act of white supremacy is more supreme. That was the only argument y'all was having. Is it maritime law? Is it canon law? Is it the English law? Man, all of that shit is white supremacy. Like you didn't say African, you didn't say the Nile River, like you didn't say Caribbean, African American, you didn't say nothing. None of that shit deals with black people. It's just
but where does canon law come from?
White people.
No.
Where?
Canon law comes from exactly what it sounds like it comes from. It comes from canon.
The Canaanites?
Yeah? So basically, what we have to understand is canon law and all this divine law and stuff here, when we're going into it, Raheem was partly right, but he messed up by saying it's Roman. Yeah? Because in its inception, Christianity is not Roman. Yeah? So let's get that correct.
Yeah, but this shit has been whitewashed and conquered. That shit has been conquered and whitewashed, bro.
So there you go. So it might be whitewashed, but that don't mean it's a white man's laws. Do you see it?
Man,
It
but
just means it's
now
been
it is.
whitewashed.
But now it is, Shiffer.
Not
Yeah, now it
necessarily,
is.
because
So
if it was, listen, when you say that, yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. The reason why the Romans came up with their inferior version of law is because the true law, the true canons of law, which they're deriving their law from, they're too powerful. It would render their civilization unable to govern other civilizations, and to conquer people and govern them. So in order to conquer other people and be able to govern them, they had to come up with their inferior version of law, because by law they wouldn't have been able to do it. And this is why to this day you've got different levels of persons. So like you got citizens, you got sovereigns, you've got trustees, you got different levels of personages, isn't it?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, of course, you have different, but who controls all of that? Who puts those labels on people? Who labels the citizens and these other labels? The
The
system, white
governments.
supremacy. Yeah, the government. We can call them the governments. Those are white supremacist governments.
100%, I agree with you on that. And unfortunately, even on the African continent, all the way through the Caribbean and all around the world, what we find is that
They've
we've
been
been
infiltrated.
yeah, we've not even just infiltrated, we've been is the word superseded? I think
Yeah,
it's superseded.
absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
we've been superseded by either British law, which is based on common law, which is derived from Roman law, or in the other parts of the world that ain't under British law, we have civil law, which is still another derivative of Roman law. So when I was trying to explain that to them earlier, I couldn't get it out clearly because obviously everyone wanted to keep talking over me. But I think now you can understand where I'm going with this when I say it's all Roman in its origin, in its inception.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's all Roman.
You feel me? But then the thing is now, remember, you've still got other laws out there. Like you've got when you talk about the law system, we call it the judicial system. Yeah? When I say judicial, it sounds like a particular people group. Yeah. So once we get into judicial matters, we have to understand that some of these laws are going to be even relying upon certain Talmudic or certain other religious establishments laws, like Islamic.
Yes.
Like it's said in there. Do you feel what I'm trying to say? Like I read it earlier.
But you brought up Sharia law earlier, right?
So all of that. This is what I'm saying.
Religion,
Islamic,
culture is really all right. Let me look at the American law system, right? Because I always say this. How would you describe this, Shifter? Because I always say in America, a lot of times white people look at shit that black people like to do and criminalize it.
That's right.
See what I'm saying? Like we got the trespassing law, right? And then we also have the loitering law, right? It's where like since we know black people like to just kind of randomly get together and hang out and talk shit on the street corner, we're gonna make that illegal. Now, which law is that? Does that come from maritime, or does that come like where does that law come from?
It's not a law.
Laws like
it's
that.
not a law. It's a code or a statute. And to be honest, I don't even think that one's a code or a statute. I don't even think it is. I think loitering
you can
is
go to jail though. Here you can go to jail at the least.
Oh yeah. So my bad. Yeah, in America, you're right. Actually, I think loitering might be a code still. There may be a bill passed for that code. Do you know, like that?
I mean, it's shit like I'm just saying it's shit like that. Like who can we know? Like the white supremacists and these governments control that. Control those.
Yeah, but brother, do you know what that's about? Also, what it's about not allowing people to congregate, because if people are allowed to congregate, then how are we going to limit the numbers of people congregating? And then if people wanted to start some kind of a revolution, or they wanted to start up any kind of a movement, it's going to make it 10 times harder when you're not even allowed to congregate, unless you've got a premises, unless you've got the money to suffice to have your people somewhere where it's not going to be seen as loitering.
Yeah, I hear you.
So that's what it was all about. It was always to quell rebellion 9 times out of 10.
I mean, well, it really came from slavery, right? After we quote unquote ended slavery, black people didn't have anywhere to go. Like, my grandmother came from this plantation. Like, we don't have anywhere to go. It was just like, hey, you can be free. And then the cops was like, oh shit, well, we just can't let black people just hang out. So let's put them in jail, and then we can make them sharecroppers and shit like that.
But remember, black people couldn't go to court and testify.
You didn't stand a chance. Yeah, you didn't stand a chance. And court wasn't for you. I'm happy you said that, Shiffer. And this shit's still going on in 2023. Black people, court is not for you. It's not. It wasn't built. It wasn't created with you in mind. I'm gonna tell you a perfect example, Shiffer. I was listening to you guys earlier. I'm listening to Sniper. I'm listening to you. I'm listening to people who really had to go deal with court. Then I'm listening to white people like Jupes. She don't know what the fuck she's talking about because she had never had to walk in that courtroom and really put time into that courtroom fighting for her life. She don't know, bro. But but what I'm saying about these, but you know why she's never been in there? Because these courts was created to protect her. This court wasn't built for her.
Yeah, agree.
Really, let me say this though, Shiva. Let me rant for a minute. Like a person like Jupes, man, Jupes has to really go out and commit a crime for the courts to bring her in and make her face trial. What did y'all call it? Face the magistrate, face the judge.
Yeah,
all of these people y'all was talking about earlier. She has to really go out and commit a crime. But a person like you can just look like me. And now you're in front of this magistrate. You're in front of this judge. Now you fighting for your life, man. And that's how we know these courts. I don't give a damn if it's maritime or summertime or wintertime. Any one of these fucking laws has been set up to enslave or impress you, people who look like you. That's why my brothers was passionate. I heard the passion in your voice. I heard the passion in Sniper's voice today when they was like, Jupes, you never been in these fucking courtrooms. Like, we are black men fighting for our life. Once when white supremacy say, nigga, come in and stand in front of me. We black people fighting for our life, man. And Jupes is just saying, well, you niggas should just do right.
Do you know what Jupes is doing? Right. I'm gonna be honest with you, Born. What she's doing, what do you call it, Kel? Practicing an unethical code of conduct.
That's exactly
within her system, because she feels like she's on top. Now, Born Rich, I'm gonna be honest with you, brother. You see, if I didn't know to some extent, that what I was reading to you was correct and applicable in court. If I didn't know I could apply some of the knowledge that was in there in court, I would have never read it out. And I tell you what I've applied from that knowledge in court. In those paperworks, it tells you if you accept having a solicitor in court, you accept the jurisdiction. But also it says if you accept having a solicitor in court, then when the court is when the solicitors are addressing each other, have you ever noticed, if you've ever been in court, when solicitors are talking, a lot of the times they're using word language and talking about scenarios that are not very clear to an untrained ear, to a person who doesn't use that particular type of language.
That's right.
So guess what I did one time? I was in court. I said, you know what? I don't want no solicitor. So prosecution comes out now, and I didn't challenge jurisdiction. I'm gonna do that in my next one. If I get in fact, I got a 3 points of driving with a defective tire. I might even try it in that one just to prove to these people that it works, innit? Now, what I'm saying is, the moment I sack the solicitor and I said I don't want a solicitor, they have to now explain everything in words that I can understand. Brother, you see the way I beat them up in that court case? It was almost like they handed me all of the ammunition to kill them with, because you have to now explain things in layman terms, which means it renders the prosecution not useless, but it renders him to the same level that I'm on now. And once I understand what you're saying, it's now harder for you to make an argument with me. It's now harder for you to use trickery and use words to try and bamboozle me into saying something that's gonna incriminate myself.
Yeah,
See where I'm coming from. So I'll be honest, I won that case hands down, and yeah, I walked away from that knowing that at least one part of what I've read in this thing is true. That if you're in court as a normal person, they have to explain it into you in words that you understand.
Okay. I'll give you that. At the end of the day, that white supremacist court can lock your ass up if they feel the need to lock your ass up.
And imagine how much brothers are sitting there in the dock or in the stands listening to the case being presented about them, and they've got no clue about what's going on because they don't understand the terminology being used. So even when they're defending themselves, the lawyer is not necessarily at liberty to explain it to them even in words that they understand. The lawyer is just at liberty to rush them through this case now because we're standing in court.
That's why, for example, I've got to give it up for our Moorish brothers and sisters who have made it perfectly clear that you're supposed to know the law of the land. And this kind of ties in with brother IC3 as well, brother Shifa and brother Bon, because we do need to understand the languages, what they use, to be less emotional and more tactful, and I've said this many times, man, growing up in movements, in Birmingham and obviously in the UK, etc., is that it's going to be very difficult for the non-Africans to remove this unethical code of conduct, which is learned. Like I was listening to Jupiter, and I was listening to when I was sorting some things out with the family, but I think there was a discussion between the Black Turks, brother Shifa. Correct me if I'm wrong. So, and there was something going on, and no, it was with brother Motion. He was explaining something with the with the Asian lad. Can't remember his name.
The Black Gods in India and that.
Yeah, but what I've noticed is that they all know what they are doing. You understand? They are very aware Black people on the earth first and everything's wrong, which is why they practice the unethical code of conduct. You understand?
Yeah.
They have to do that. You understand? Because they don't do it, they get put down, and it lets them know that we came after. So we have to understand the law of the land, man. And as I said, Elder IC3, man, he's got it nailed down, especially those who have got kids in their 20s. You know what I mean? Like myself, etc. They need to know about that when the police see it. Oh, IC3, okay. Yeah. IC7, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Okay, in America, these look, okay. And they know how to articulate with the police.
Oh, yeah. So here in America, of course, they got young black male, but then they hit you with those numbers. Yeah, young black male. Oh, we have a 187 in progress.
Yeah.
We got a 211 in progress. Like you gotta know what that shit means, man. We got young born. We got young born, and yeah, right now we have him in custody for a 211.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, hell, I need to know what the fuck a 211 is. You know what I mean? I understand what you. It's
important, man. It's important.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And the thing is, like you said, a 211, it's exactly what it sounds like. If I start dialing numbers into a safe and open a safe, what is the name of the numbers I've just put in? It's a code, isn't it?
Yeah, code, that's right.
So all of these things are part of that same unethical code of conduct that Brother Kel keeps telling us about. And it's like, I don't think that we can take it as serious enough a lot of the time, because we have to really see the codes for what they are. Just like when you watch that film, The Matrix, with Neo, he's talking the same thing, just the code.
How important is that word to us, y'all? I just keep hearing it, right? Code of conduct. Schiffer is on code. And Schiffer, you know what I mean? Born Rich, he on code. Like, I use it. I ain't gonna lie, I use it. Shit, I say, man, we gotta be on code. How important is that word to us, Brother Kill?
Oh, If you, for example, I was doing some organization in couple of the in the rooms before. If we was to write a list, what makes us unsynchronized? The whole community, right? And then when we've written down that list, we write down what makes us synchronize. And then we combine that and have a code of conduct of, for example, whenever we're around each other, make sure we don't talk about or attack each other's color. What will happen is that you'll be at your dopamines will be trained. And every time you're in a situation where you'll be pushed towards unsynchronization, the brain is going to release that dopamine validation of you staying on code of, no, I'm going to decode this colorism. No, I'm going to decode that when I'm around black people and then I have a business, we have to fund the youth so we can prosper. So that's very important why there's a code of conduct is needed. If you don't have a code of conduct, brother born, you won't be able to be around black people, as what Nili Fuller Jr. says. If you don't have a plan when you're around black people, then we can be poisonous to one another. Yeah.
Stay away. I agree. I do. I agree.
Yeah.
All right. So my thing is, I say this, man, especially when I speak for, I can't even say black Americans. I can say the way that I was raised, right? As a black man in America. The way that I was raised is we had codes. We got unspoken language. We have it. I mean, some people say, man, nobody has a code, but black people don't have a code. We do. I know how to look when me and them. I'll tell you this. Let me give you something so simple. Listen, man, when I walk into a room, if I walk into a room that's mainly non-black and I see 3 or 4 black people around, I am going to talk or mingle, introduce myself to one of those black people. It just happens like that. It's been happening like that since I was in fucking school. When I went to school, yes, you go to the lunchroom. First day of school, you're in the lunchroom, and it's like, oh shit, white people over there, white girls, white boys. Oh shit, look at the black kids. Let me go over here with the black kids. It's like you just know. You just know. I mean, something simple as the head nod or the dap.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna bump a white guy that I'm meeting. I don't know. It's shit like that.
You know what though, Born Rich? I totally agree with you guys, yeah, that we definitely need to have a code of conduct in dealing with each other. And you know, even in another conversation we was having earlier today about, you know, violence in the black community, black on black violence, certain things, you know, to try and extinguish these kind of elements from our community, I think it's definitely important to have a code. But then the next thing I want to say is, yeah, how can I explain this now? When I was having this debate with MJ and the rest of them and Jupiter and whoever about this law situation, that Keska v Act thing that I brought up here, I brought that up for a reason, because I was hoping that some of these British people that's listening, like the Jupiters or Mary Jens or the white people, yeah, I'm hoping it's gonna wake them up to let them understand the government that you take so much pride in, the institutions that you follow and you follow blindly and would happily side with against people like us and use unethical code with against us. Those very same people have no love for them whatsoever. Because when you look at what that act encompasses, and that's been enacted on their own people. It wasn't done on African people or some group outside. It was enacted on their own people, then spread outside. That shows that they are in no greater a situation than us. And it shows that, unfortunately, you know, we as black people coming from outside of the box have usually got a higher level of intelligent thinking for that reason, because we can still think outside of the box. But those trapped inside the box, all they see is the box. They don't see the mechanism being used to enforce the box over them, if that makes sense. They don't see that.
The thing is, brother Schiffer, here's the thing, right? If we look at us through here, we are all African descendants. You're an Israelite, brother born. He's a foundation American, and I'm a Pan-Africanist, right?
Yeah.
We have different ideologies.
Yeah.
But at the same time, some of us are married to the black woman, some of us are not.
Yeah.
But if I'm around non-African people, right, I'm speaking for myself, I will not let our differences override when I'm around them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You
Now, that
understand?
is the code. I ain't gonna lie, Kel. To me, that is the code.
Yeah.
But I can say that at my age now, though, Kel. I don't know if I thought like that at fucking 25. At 25, 22, I didn't think like that. And you know what I'm saying? I wish I would have, Kel. No bullshit. But at 25, man, a white man could have fucking this is gonna sound crazy. A white man could have pulled me to the side and been like, "Hey, man, look at him, look at him over there," and he's pointing to another black guy like he's acting crazy. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I could have let somebody else get in my ear and like turn me against my own people. I even say this, man. At 25, I didn't care about harming my people. Like if I'm gonna shoot anybody or rob anybody at 25, it was gonna be a black person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just didn't have the love. I didn't have the love for our people. The best thing now is you just had a love for your people. No, like Schiffer said, know the box you're in and who built the box. Who's on the outside of the box looking in and
That's
pulling
right.
things. Like once you know that shit, man. That's a motherfucker. What's up, God Jacob? What's up, brother?
Yeah. Big up, bro.
What's good? What's good? What's good?
My guy, man. How you doing, man?
Yes, I'm chilling, man. I heard you talk about the cold, man. I just started laughing.
Talking about what? The cold?
Yeah, because check this out, man. About 2 weeks ago, I was on my way to Denver. I was on the plane, right?
Yeah.
And this white guy, he was drinking too much on the goddamn plane. He started getting belligerent and acting an ass. And then me and this other black guy, he was in like the seat a couple. We just looked at each other like, I wish this motherfucker would.
Yeah.
Like we ain't say nothing, but when we got off the plane, we started talking that like he had all he had to do was get up. We was going, you know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
We didn't know each other from shit, but we knew we was gonna fuck his ass up. Like ain't no plane or no shit getting hijacked with me and like one of the black nigga on the plane. Like
that's a fact, man.
Like that plane gonna land. Trust and believe that shit. I'll beat you all the way until we land. Like, we just looked at each other like nigga, like and the other white people was like, oh my god, what? No, ain't no oh my god, he about to get done. Like this nigga is out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like you know what I mean? We just talked all the way to the baggage claim talking about how we gonna fuck his ass up. That shit was funny.
I'm telling you, Jacob, I can't quantify it, man, but we know, man. It's osmosis. It's osmosis, man. Black people can just look at each other and say, okay, yeah, cool. If some bullshit pop off in here, you already know what to do, brother.
We just gave to that look. Like all you got to do is get up, and you white people, oh my God, ain't no, God is got nothing to do with what we about to do this, brother.
Yeah. I don't believe that's what I was saying, that we should try and convince non-African people about the system, brother Schiffer, because when we look at this word called beneficiary, those who know, those who don't know, a person entitled to receive the claim amount of other benefits based upon the death of a benefactor or the policy generally from the beneficiary which receives the benefits. Now, unfortunately, all non-African people are beneficiaries of what the ancestors built. So to try and convince them, Brother Schiffer, about the system, they are very aware about the system, brother. They know about the system. They understand that the system acquires for their needs. What they don't want for you to understand it, so you can start decoding it. But they all know, even the most doolally, or so to say, the most uneducated non-African, but they understand they are beneficiaries of the system, and that's why I say it's a bad idea was trying to convince them when they already know already. If that makes any sense.
See, I do agree with you on to that extent, yeah. That it's a bad idea to try and convince them on the whole, like we're gonna join in some type of allegiance, because I think they're always gonna be in allegiance with their system anyway. But I think it's important for the argument of when they talk about systematic racism, and then they try to act like it doesn't exist. If we're going to talk about an unethical code of practice being enforced against us as Black people, then it's definitely important in that conversation as well, because then it highlights the issue on a not just an institutional level, but on a lawful basis, where it now becomes inexcusable and inescapable.
Yeah, I hear that one.
Man, I'm gonna say this, man. Why would they be against the system that they? I mean, if we're honest, they benefit from.
Yeah, but if you
listen, let me say this. Let me say this, Shifter. You guys were talking about law and everything, and I was just kind of looking at the dynamics of the people who was saying, "I've been in these courtrooms. I've been in jail. I've been locked up before." All the people who was saying that even in the UK look like me.
Yeah.
The people that was debating against didn't look like me, and they didn't go to jail. Why is that? Why is and so then you have to go to statistics, right? They say Black people in America is 13% of the population and commit over 65% of the violent crimes in America. Why is that? Are Black people just innately criminal?
No, brother, their numbers are contrived, and this is why these other areas have to be explored first, because the law has to be used in order to create. If we're going to create an act within this system to support us against the unethical code of conduct being used against us, or if we're going to say we're not going to recognize the jurisdiction of this law system, we have to know what system's jurisdiction we do accept. So when we presenting that to the court, now it empowers us in that to that effect. And once we can do that, we don't really have to worry about their unethical code of conduct, because you could arrest one of us then, yeah, and you can take us in the police station, but you can't hold us under the jurisdiction that you want to hold us under, because we don't recognize that jurisdiction. You can't even prosecute us under that jurisdiction because we don't recognize it. And once we can get majority of us to agree to this, now we can either accept, just using the indigenous law or the canon laws, yeah, or we could say by these canon laws and by the laws that came before us, we could create our own law to live within their system that they can argue with us on. Hence, you've got certain religious groups doing it right now. There are certain aspects of their religious conduct that wouldn't necessarily be deemed lawful in the society, but they can't do nothing about it because those people don't recognize any law other than the law of their deity.
You know what, brother Shifa? I agree with what you said halfly. The reason why I only agree with halfly is that knowing the law, which we should know, needs to be backed up with collective power. I'll give an example. When they incarcerated the Honorable Martin Luther King and the Honorable Marcus Garvey, is that although they were in there, but the government understood that both of them understand the law of the land, and they're backed up by a community that will break them out of the prison, of the police station as well as the prison. They understood that, right? Yeah. So having them two dynamics is very important. If we just know the law, brother, without that, remember the 1965 Racial Relation Act, which you know, and that's been broken, brother. Since 1965, and that's been, and I know in America the same thing. They keep breaking it, and they can break it because they have that authority power. So as long as we've got that collective power, brother, as well as knowing the law of the land, then there's more power and fear in it. If that makes any sense.
No, you're 100% right, because you're right in the sense of that's only half of the fight. The second half of the fight is deciding on leadership. And I think that would be the biggest conflict for us, deciding on leadership, because within our group, we got so many powerful voices, powerful minds. And it's going to be difficult to decide on that leadership. But if we do decide on the leadership, then now officially those governments can't even touch us, because we'll be under the governance of a sovereign entity who at that point we can donate all of our tax money to, and they can create, you know, an institution, you know, a buildings, a society, even within a society that can't be touched, because we'd have to stockpile weapons, all of those type of things, to ensure that we can enforce our sovereignty.
It's like there was a very powerful Hebrew Israelite. His name's Bin Ammi, right? Very influential brother. He understood the law when he went back home to Northeast Africa, which is the Middle East, into Israel, and he had to do the same thing. You understand? And he went, I believe it was the 1960s. And, you know what I mean? He fought his way with the collective. So it's definitely, and by the way, the Hebrew Israelites are still in Israel, the original ones. The ones that left America, they're still settled there alongside with their other original Hebrew Israelites from the East Africa. But the point is, he did the same thing, brother. He did the same thing, man. You know, he fought the system over there and had the power of the movement, man. So it's definitely possible.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think that, you know, within these societies, although I know it's possible that we could create a society within a society, I still think that that's not really the way forward for us as Black people.
So what is the way? What is the way forward?
The way forward for us as Black people is, you see, when Black people got this, you know, Declaration of Independence. What was it? The Freedom Act or whatever it is. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, some a white person gave us.
Yeah, basically, there was some kind of Freedom Act that stopped us being slaves and whatever else. We should have never accepted that. We shouldn't be accepting anything other than our own state, our own country, just like the Haitians did. Unfortunately for the Haitians, you know, because they were right in their decision to stand against the powers that was oppressing them, you know, they was basically put into a precarious situation where their money system and certain other systems have been destroyed because of it, because of their strength. People seek to destroy you when you're strong. Do you feel where I'm coming from? But as Black Americans, we shouldn't have been accepting anything other than that, because by now we would have been powerful enough to start competing with the rest of them in our same territories. Do you feel where I'm coming from? And we wouldn't be under the guise of a fraudulent government, because our governments are actually governed by the British government. So all of our governments are fraud anyway. They're not ours.
Bro, I just push back a little bit against that, because just like in basketball, I never try to compare eras. In that era, especially in Black America, when you had this population of people from slavery who have just come through a whole lot of shit, and to sit back and kind of say what you really did is hard for me. So I kind of look at that differently, because we don't know exactly what we would have done, right? We know what happened, but to go back and kind of Monday morning quarterback the shit,
Yo, GOJ, I'll be honest with you, GOJ, you're kind of right, but we do know what we would have done. And this is why when I was talking to Brother Jedi earlier, I had to kind of agree with him. Like some of these movements, these Black movements, they must be headed up by gatekeepers. Because when you look at the established people around them, the amount of people that know law, You know, this is how you got establishments like the Moors who can tell you all the laws. They can tell you about jurisdiction, all of these things. These things ain't just come around the other day. They was about during that civil rights movement too. And they didn't want to go to the court. They should have went to the Supreme Court and fought for all the injustice done against us, because we would have won that case. Once a case can be proven, a judge can't not hear it. And he has to, on its merits, a case must be judged, not on, you know, the whims of the powers that be. It has to be judged on its merits. So for that reason, I believe we were done a disservice by certain members of our own community.
Brother, 60, you talking about the Supreme Court and civil rights, which started in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
And you talking about a nigga going to the Supreme Court and winning? I don't see that, you know.
Brother, there would have been no way to refuse that. This is the thing. I think sometimes we get a little bit ignorant 60 in thinking, America. Yeah, because it's 60s America, we're thinking, okay, it's racist. They just throw the case out of court. But like I said, once a claim has been made, even in these redundant, inferior Roman systems, proof and evidence can't just be disregarded. Don't matter about race. None of these things matter. You know, what's going to happen is the judge has to judge the case on his merits. If he does an unjust judgment, then even still, we can go to a higher court. And even still, we could have been making appeals right up to this day until the day when they realize that they're wrong for their racism. And eventually we win that case. Eventually it has to be won, brother. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I hear that.
We will have to agree to disagree on that one. But the good thing, man, some new niggas on the battlefield, you know, we can look at history of the past, correct some shit, re-galvanize, regroup, and say, let's do it this way, based off, you know, some of the successes and failures of the past. So, new guys, new think tanks out here, you young guys, get it going.
Yeah, it's true. We do have to learn from the mistakes and improve the code of conduct. Because imagine if we had the code of conduct when the Haitians defeated the Europeans, you know, there was no code of conduct, was it, to help them? You know what I mean? So, yeah, that unity needs to be backed up with our code of conduct. As I said, we have to put down our differences, man. There's no way I'm putting, and use that, know what I'm like anyway. I'm not putting non-African people above black people. It's not going to happen. You understand? If we have that mindset, you know, we can, you know, disagree. I know we're in different religions and, you know, different tribes as it pertains on the African continent and those who came to the diaspora, etc. You know what I mean? But we have to kind of, you know, overlook certain things. You know, you don't have to always have the ego. Okay, I want to beat this brother, you know, whether it's on his platform or not. Sometimes the strategy of appearing weak and vulnerable to strategize to overcome the non-Africans who are trying to cause animosity, brother, is the best thing. Because that's what our brothers and sisters in America will always say, man. The ego of the ego is the problem. You know what I mean? So using different mind strategy tactics to diffuse unsynchronization is very important. And I appreciate the show today, brother Shifra. I was listening in, and there was less arguments. Yeah. You know what I mean? There was you know what I mean? And this is how, because the thing is, brother, like, I can't emphasize this as much as I can. Non-African people are always studying who is synchronized and who is unsynchronized, and they can definitely play you off when you think you're in charge. You're not, because the way how they do it, you know, is very problematic and very dangerous. Remember, it's caused a lot of killings of our leaders. You know, look at Bobby Seale and European Newton. Remember those letters when they were in prison, and that the non-Africans were instigating, using the ego. So we have to be very, very calculated. You know what I mean? When we're arguing, we shouldn't be personal. You understand?
Yeah.
That's why I don't be personal, brother. You know what I mean? I'm an adult like on the man. I don't get personal. You'll never hear brother Kel speaking about anyone's mom, anyone's family, anyone's thing. I'm just political science. You understand?
I can't promise you that. That's for one. I'm not gonna promise you that shit.
But for real though, it has to be that way because you alarm the non-Africans to strategize and use each other, and then their plotting mechanism is very powerful, and it's happened. You know, look at the Honorable Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and the Elijah Muhammad. Look what happened. They use certain strategies, so we have to be very calculated. You know what I mean? Can I really say that? If I say that word, is it going to trigger the rest to kind of go again? And that's why I try my best, brother. Even when I go on platforms, I understand that it's going to be chaotic, but I have to fall back because I can't be unsynchronized, bro. It's not the one, man.
Bro,
Really not
did
the
you hear
one.
what I said earlier today?
What did you say?
I got tactical on them today.
Yeah,
Hold on, I'm gonna find it. I've written down as well. I said,
Man,
hold
read
on.
that.
I'm not going through this again. This is what I said. I said,
Yeah.
if you're great minds are minds that like to discuss ideas.
Mhm.
Average minds will discuss events. Yeah.
Mhm.
And small-minded people just want to discuss other people. And the moment I put that across to everyone, it was like I noticed whose mind was really in tune and listening to what's going on. And I noticed even Brother Maku, you notice we didn't argue the whole day because I
Yeah, I
know them
noticed.
words, they hit
Yeah,
home.
yeah, it was proper, man. And that's what I'm saying. There was synchronizing on that show, man. There was less arguing,
Come
and I
on.
gotta commend you brothers for that, man. Big up to you brothers, man. Trying, man. You know what I mean?
But you see
One
what the
thing I
thing
say
is,
about
though?
Schiffer, man, I be driving, listening to Schiffer, right? Sometimes, and I said one thing about this brother: he's either going to come to a stalemate or he's going to win that argument. And I just be laughing. They be like, "Oh, he took a loss." I was like, "Schiffer's not taking no loss in no debate. He's going to stalemate, or it's going to be a win." That's the bottom line.
I do pick my arguments. I feel like I pick them quite wisely, not all the time. But I feel like, Brother Kel, 100%, you're right when you say political science. And this is why I believe, you know what, I'm an Israelite, like you said. We've all got different ideologies to some extent within our communities. And I believe that we don't need to unite on one religious ideology. But one thing we can unite in is the law and how we adhere to it and what laws we're willing to adhere to. And that means any black person from any religion, that's something we can all meet and find some middle ground on. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So,
hey, man, I gotta go. Good talking to y'all. I got some business to tend to.
Big up.
All right,
Big up.
fellas.
Big up, brother. Take care, brother. Yeah, you're right, brother. You know what I mean? As I said, I don't have a problem with the Abrahamic faith at all or the other religion. It's just that, brother, when it's used to control us, it's problematic. That's why when we was on Veli's show, and we were, chopping it up. Do you understand? A lot of our people, brother, are moving away from religion. Have you noticed? There's a movement. You know what I mean? And it's very strange. Like, what? A black? We are not believing in the creator. That's madness because it built in us. But I can understand because, brother, we don't want to be oppressed, bro, man. You know what I mean? We don't want to kind of, for non-African people, you know what I mean, using trickery and kind of enslaving us. Like, for example, the prophets. Everybody knows there's an African proverb, right? You can't be the anointed one unless you're kissed by the sun. All of them were black people. From Adam all the way to Muhammad, all of them were black people. So when the non-African people are trying to remove that and making our heroes be unsynchronized black people, that's problematic. We don't want to go through that. And then we're praying and, we want to go to the Holy Lands, and all of a sudden people are looking at you differently. Oh, you shouldn't be here. They look at you like you shouldn't be there. That's madness. So we as a people to say, okay, we've got the religion, we're going to blackanize it, not change the law of the creator, brother, but make sure there's a black agenda. I'm teaching my people about the laws of the Israelite to bring the best out of them, but it's going to be black centered first. You understand what I'm saying, brother? Same with Islam as well. The same thing with Islam. It has to be, not saying to change the law, but make it black centered. You understand?
Well, this is what was so scary to people like Jupiter, and I even believe to Sister Mary Jen when they saw this this thing I was presenting. I don't know what Brother Raheem's horse was in the race, but even Brother Raheem seemed a bit shocked, and it's because what this thing is encompassing is bringing us all together. It's saying it don't matter if you're dealing with Islamic law, Christian law, Judeo law. It don't matter which law you're dealing with, because all law is encompassed in the law, and the law encompasses all law. So once we can understand that, it's a united front then, isn't it? Because I don't have to, I don't have to, what's the word? The law won't show prejudice towards me because I'm a Christian, or because I'm a Muslim, or because I'm an Israelite, or because I'm a Pan-African. It will only show prejudice to the person who's breaking the law. So, rather than me trying to enforce my religion's law on you, or you trying to force your religion's law on me, we can meet in the middle with just one set of laws for all, which encompasses all the religions, encompasses all the traditions, encompasses everything. So everyone's protected.
Big up, brother Mike. Big up.
What's up?
Big up.
What up, brother Mike?
Man, just checking in, man. Tapping in, seeing y'all was on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, brother. Yes, sir. Thank you for tapping in, bro. Thank you for tapping in, man. So what happened? What happened to God of Jacob?
He said he had to do something.
All right, my bad, y'all. I have to take a
Sound
phone.
like y'all talking some black nationalism on here.
Yeah, literally, that's exactly what it is. But how can we nationalize with no laws in a lawless society? That won't work. So I think this is why I'm at this point now where it's like to find middle ground between all the religion and spirituality. I think that's where we can find the middle ground, by deciding and agreeing on the laws between ourselves before we challenge the system with it.
Right. A code.
That's still you. Yeah, that's the code. Yep, code is unity. That's code. That's code. That's unity.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, man.
How do we decide who's allowed to follow the code?
Like the leaders of each group, man, they get together, they sit down, and they come up with this code.
Yeah, and everyone's allowed to follow the code. Everyone has to follow the code. It wouldn't be a thing of who's allowed. It's a necessity.
Right.
A way of life. It's a way of life.
It can work, man. It can work.
Has to be a way of life, man.
I believe that's why they killed Brother Malcolm, I believe that's why they killed him.
All right, so y'all was speaking about that earlier, right? And damn it, y'all was speaking about that earlier, Chef, and I couldn't arrive on the panel, man. But what's the guy's name? J. Edgar Hoover.
Yeah.
Like, man, he was saying it. Like, we cannot have a black messiah in America. We can't. Like, these guys are getting too big. And they're getting too big and uncontrollable. So we have to think about that. That shit still lives on.
And Born Rich, what did they use to control?
Hold on. I think Jedi was saying, like, do we need another Black Panther party in 2023? Do we need one? Yes, we do.
As long as they're gonna zero in on this element of law as paramount, I'd say yes too. But without that, no, because what does the government use to control us? Laws. Do you understand? So when he's talking about us being uncontrollable and you can't have a black messiah, he's talking about us breaking free from the law.
Absolutely. They created the law. So you know that, Shiva, like, we're going to have to come up with a plan to, I don't know, man. Come on.
You know, Brother Malcolm went off cold, man. That's what really got him killed. He went off cold. You can't air your dirty laundry out to your enemy.
I
hear you.
And they took advantage of it.
I agree with that. Now, I do have to ask this. Kicked out. If he was kicked out, how do you control, right? So if we learn from that mistake, how do we control or make sure the person don't speak ill about us once we kick them out? All right. Once we find a person who listen to me.
Something we don't want to discuss online.
Yeah.
So there is a strategy, and it returns back to making sure you take care of their family.
Yeah,
that's very important when you're organizing, as well as understanding the characteristics. Because why we're not loyal to one another? Because we don't take care of the collective. You understand? So if you still take care of their family, even though they've said something wrong, then it will limit sabotage or certain types of rhetoric that will cause harm to the collective, if that makes any sense.
So do you mean like in desperation kind of tactics?
It should be done anyway, brother Shifa, to be honest with you, because you said it beautifully before. The system's not for us. So remember this, like you've got all the black women and the black children, right, who need a man around. They need a collective. So the moment one of their counterpart has participated in something unsynchronized, right, then naturally the one that's done the unsynchronization is going to be shunned away. Do you understand? That will lead to less resource, etc. That's going to cause problem to the family, which is going to make the unsynchronized African descendant either go and join up with the system or cause more harm. So
that's
as long
what
as
I mean, by the desperation. Because that person's now left in a desperate situation. So now when the system says, oh, do you know what? Well, if your people have kicked you out now, we'll hand you a check, but you got to come over to this side now. Do you know? What's he gonna do?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What do you do if a person, you just can't control them? You take care of them, but they still want to badmouth the organization.
That's a good question.
But this is the thing. It's like people are always gonna badmine your organization or what you believe in. But as long as you are showing tangible proof and resources for the collective will always help you out. You know what I mean? Regardless, they'll even go against you for saying bad things about the movement, because they can always say, okay, you're saying all these things, but they're still taking care of the collective. This is why non-African people are very loyal to their people and that, right? They will go on podcasts or in real life and they'll say, well, the system's wrong, etc. But they understand the system's loyal to them. You understand? So they'll give half the truth and conceal the rest because they understand the system caters for me. Even if you don't like the system, it still looks after us. So you have to keep the collective loyal, and they'll go against the perpetrator or the unsynchronized rhetoric, which what one of us may do.
I agree with that, actually. I think that's a 100. I think that is 100 because depending on your situation can denote your actions. Just like if a poor man's really poor and he's starving, he's hungry, he could end up committing a crime. Whereas, if the poor man was fed and he's not starving and hungry, it's less likelihood of that happening.
And that's why the Panthers, brother Shifa, they were very, you got to give them that respect, man. I mean, look at Altia Jones from the Black Panther Party in UK, who linked up with the Shakurs, you know what I mean? She also did that in the UK as well, the breakfast movement, feeding the poor and keeping the black people loyal sincerely. It's very important, man. And Afeni Shakur, and, we got to give a credit to the Shakurs and, the rest of them. They did that. So that's a good strategy. Very, very good strategy, man.
Yeah, I was because I was thinking about that earlier, man. When y'all was speaking about that earlier on the other panel, all of the good shit that the Black Panthers brought to the table, that shit, a lot of that shit stuck. It's stuck in the community, and that type of shit, the shit that didn't stick, it needs to come back, man. In the community, you got shit like the free lunch program.
Wick.
Come on, man. The American government,
Yeah.
they took
Mhm.
that. Oh,
They
come
Yeah.
did.
on, man. So you got shit like that. I mean, you got back in them days, man. Them boys they had to have their own schools.
Mhm.
They learned it was segregation here, so they
Mhm.
had their own black schools, black grocery stores, It was a real black community.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You couldn't even go to the white part of the city. So, man, I don't know, man. I don't know.
You know, I actually agree with what you're saying about the Black Panthers, yeah. But I'll be honest with you, yeah. I personally, yeah, like obviously, Brother Kel, you being a Pan African, I believe that the movement that you're trying to deal with, I honestly find that one more plausible. The only issue I have with the Pan African movement is that it doesn't have a country to base itself on, other than maybe you got the guy from Ghana. Then I can't remember his name. Is it Kwame?
Kwame Nkrumah. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, but remember, Ghana's still a British colony, and for
Yeah.
that reason, I don't think it's sustainable as the hub of our movement. But I think if Pan Africanism had its own country, had its own state, I think
Yeah.
that's powerful. I think that could do
Yeah.
more than what a
Yes.
Black Panthers could do.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. I ain't gonna lie, Schiffer, for real, Schiffer. That's 100, man. I think if Pan Africanism had a place to bring in refugees, bro. I'm probably a Pan Africanist refugee, Gil. I would come.
Mm.
Like, yeah, shit. I want free. I ain't bullshit, Schiffer. It sound crazy, but
Me and you both.
if they right, Schiffer, for real, like I think people who come from slavery, people who come from the background of slavery,
Mm.
would love African or Pan Africanist safe haven. We would get the fuck out of here, bro. If but you know what the key is? It's white supremacy. I will go anywhere on the earth that is not dominated by the system of white supremacy. And there's not a lot of people who would say that out loud, but
Mm.
I would go anywhere in the world that's not dominated by the system of white supremacy. So if it's a place in Africa that I should go, and people show me the blueprint on how to go, I'm out of here. I'm out of here, man.
The
I'm
thing is,
gone.
brother Born, is that the answer the forefathers of Pan Africanism, they laid down the blueprint to make it flexible wherever the African descendant um, dwells in or settles in, to formulate, to try and get the power back. That's the beautiful thing about Pan Africanism. Because if we were to have a country, for example, right? Remember, we're not all organized.
Yes,
Sorry,
yes,
right?
yeah,
So some of us are Pan Africanist nationalists, some of us are Pan Africanist socialists, right?
yeah,
Now, what's going to happen is the government understands, okay, there's a division going on here. So, okay, they're in that country, it will get destroyed straight away.
yeah,
Do you understand? It's too predictable. But whereas the the blueprint of Pan Africanism, because it's so flexible that you can take it anywhere, it was meant to build wherever you are, and then build the code, and then once you've got the code, those who are expertise in military science, they will naturally be on board with it. That is how it's formulated, if that makes any sense.
No, so you said build the code where we are. Now, how does that code transfer to Africa? Right? I'm in America. You're in the UK. You know what I'm saying? We got other brothers in the Caribbean islands. Like, we formulate the code. Cool. We formulate the code, but how do we get back to Africa? If that's the end all be all.
Well, the end goal is to secure security and economics for Black people globally. Some of us may not want to settle on the continent, you understand? But at the same time, as long as there's security wherever we settle, that is the goal. Now, when we're talking about how do we sell this blueprint, well, once we've filled the code, as I said to you, we write down what makes us unsynchronize, right? As a community, and then we write down what makes us synchronize, and then we formulate the code, and then you give details of the IMF loan, the unnecessary how do I translate this? The unnecessary injections that doesn't need to be injected into us, right? This is shown to our people, which they understand this is oppression and it's wrong. And then you show the good picture of if we stay on code as a collective, we can fight this down. You see, showing the differences between the future if we stay on code and the future if we don't stay on code, even though showing what we're facing is very, very effective, very effective.
Okay.
Yeah, it sounds good still. It sounds good. Only thing I think though is, Kel, yeah, like how can I explain this then? I feel like if you did have your own country, your own landmass, then there's a base of operations to plan from. Obviously, maybe you're more vulnerable because people know where to find you. Then I get that, but also I feel like how can I explain it? I feel like it's almost like if we created our own state outside of the white supremacist states, it gives us a chance to reset and start over by our own rules, by our own mechanisms. And I feel like even white people and certain Asian people, if they saw that, they're going to want to go there because it's like, well, depending on what the laws are, especially if they're beneficial to the citizens, which the laws of these countries nowadays aren't, I feel like it's like, that's like, I don't know, the new Zion.
Any piece of land though? Is there a piece of land out there that we could get?
But this is what I'm saying is
Or will
the
we have to be in one of the Western countries?
no, it will never work being in any Western. It can never work in the Western. It has to be on the African continent due to that it's self-sufficient by the will of the creator in regards to resources, and all culture and civilization comes from there. So it's gonna have to be there. It can't be in the Western country because look, if the moment we start building anything over here, which we should attempt, because we should use Western countries as a training ground for us, that when we do develop in Africa, we've already synchronized. But the moment we start building anything heavy, the non-Africans will never allow that. It will alarm them and they're going to want to destroy it, which we've seen historically. So yes, the goal is to have a state. But as I said, Brother Shifra and Brother Born, is that you're mentioning for Asians and that to come over. And I understand that we're all from the human family, right? And we shouldn't, excuse me, mistreat or harm non-African people in an unjust way. What we have to understand, bro, is that we face oppression, brother, because we are the creator's first people. You know all this? You understand? We've given them the civilization. We are genetically dominant, whether you are chocolate complexion, chocolate caramel complexion, chocolate vanilla complexion, right? And we have the intellectual potential, these inventions, you know what I mean, which we're using, was created by Black people, you know. And the thing is, from what we understand globally, they did it while there was enslavement. That's phenomenal. How can you invent things while you're being oppressed? That's phenomenal. But we did do that. You understand? And then did things after enslavement. So the non-Africans understand this potential. So to let them in our state, brother, their unethical code of conduct, which is built in them, is going to tell them we have to use unethical code of conduct to deny or control the African human rights because it's going to exceed us. This is problematic. Now, I've grown up with Asian people, Europeans, and I've grown up with Middle Easterns as well, right? And sometimes, Brother Shifa, is that when a member from the black community, whether they have ancestry with those three groups or they've been around, tell you that they all practice unethical code of conduct, we as black people should not use our imagination or emotion say that's wrong. You understand? Because we've seen it. They will never allow for you to grow if you have that state. They're going to want to control it. They're going to want to have full, you know, dominance over it. Because unfortunately, I know this is going to be difficult to believe. They don't believe that black people should control their own things. Do you understand? So to have them in that state is very questionable. Now, I don't know what your opinions will be on that.
I just think that we as black people, we have to start to wake up and understand, if we want to call it our sovereignty or our supremacy or our authority. And in understanding our authority, I don't necessarily see a problem with us interacting with other people on the level that we are the authority. I just see the problem that within the societies we're in now, we'll never be the authority. And if any of us ever get into positions of authority, they're going to abandon the rest of us. So I think it's essential that we have our own authoritative system to base our authority on, because all of our authority is based on colonial systems that weren't derived by us.
Yes, it's freedom. I think what you're really saying, Shifa, is freedom.
Yeah,
you don't know what freedom looks like, right? Because we were all born and raised up under these laws. You can call them the maritime laws, the canon laws, but we know they're Roman, European. You know what I'm saying? We know
civil laws, common laws, all the same.
and that's what that's what I'm saying. They criminalize, you can criminalize anything. Anything. Yeah, you niggas is talking too much, so I'm gonna criminalize talking. You know what I'm saying? Like they can come up with a talking law tomorrow and we gotta fucking abide by it. Like, come on, man. Like, I mean, it's censorship. I can't monetize my YouTube channel because it's some people that say a few words that the system don't like. Man, come on.
Yeah.
Like, come on, guys. What are we doing?
Well, Brother Bond, I do believe though, before we get centered, we should use this platform. So, for example, I've said this many times, there needs to be a treaty with the Africans on the continent when they're going to America. There has to be a treaty with that because it's going to prevent the neighborhoods being exploited by non-African people. This, brother, while we're on these platforms, right, we have to be thinking about that. You know what I mean? Because you know already, brother, and it happens in the UK as well. You know, they exploit the neighborhoods, they reap all the economics from us, and we end up with nothing. So a treaty must come in hand, definitely. You know, whenever the Nigerians, the Ghanaians, or the Ethiopians want to go into the African American community, there has to be a treaty. Okay, you're coming over there. Can you create jobs with the money what you've got? Okay, employ us, and then we can help out. And then you have 1 foot in Africa and 1 foot into America, which we're both getting it. That's going to limit the Arabs, the Asians, and even the Europeans exploiting the areas. Same thing with us in the UK, Shifa. Do you understand? If we start to do all that, like, and buy up all the houses in the UK to prevent non-African people from buying the houses and etc., do you really think that they can test us? So we should use these platforms economically. How do we formulate the treaty to prevent exploitation of black people, which I'm definitely against that.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And I think you're right in the sense of before we can form a nation, you know, on the larger scale, we have to learn to form communities on the smaller scale first. And the smaller scale could just be, you know, in the thousands, you know, tens of thousands, because a nation, you know, is comprised of millions and things could get chaotic fast. So if we're finding it hard enough to just, you know, band together in the small communities that we are in, I can imagine the kind of chaos that might be created by us, you know, just jumping in the deep end with a whole country. So I definitely get that one. I think that what you're saying about the code of conduct, I still think even in these countries, it's about how we allow the laws to be applied to us and how we accumulatively agree to certain treaties and contracts of these governments. Because even though we've got the birth certificate and the rest of it, and, you know, we're supposed to be citizens, we're still foreigners in a foreign land at the end of the day. So they still have to respect our traditions and our rights. And I think, obviously, because we've got so many different religions and spiritual systems, sometimes it's hard to confederate all of those into one, where we actually need to as black people. I think there's a necessity for that, for us to be able to unite under one banner, even with all the different religions and stuff we've got.
So, for example, brother, look at in your the Torah, right?
Yeah.
Now, that alone, brother, is a code of conduct. Can we agree on that?
100%, 100 million.
So, with that code of conduct, brother, if it has, do not commit murder with black people, right? Because it's going to lessen the amount of us to fight white supremacy, right? That's not breaking the law.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying, brother? You still got the law, you know, brother, but you are also elaborating that by not following the law, it damages black people too. You see that there, brother? Nothing's been changed. Same thing when it comes to the laws of the Quran, etc. Right? You see, going against it will damage black people too. That is all we're saying, brother. The
You
black
see,
has
when
to
you
be
say
put on.
that though,
Right,
in
right.
its purest form, the law is actually the way you've explained it. Because in its purest form, we have to protect ourselves and the peoples that we come from first. We have to. But then, obviously, with the law being altered and being what's the word? Being misconstrued by certain societies to take advantage of other societies. I think this is why we have the state of law now, because you look at Jewish communities. Within a Jewish community, you have to help a man who's in need. You have to help him. Do you see what I'm trying to say? But if we look at the law today, the law doesn't state that, because the law is something else now. It's not. It's got no consistency with what we're calling the religion. And I think it don't really matter which religion you come from, whether it be Abrahamic, even if you're dealing with the African spirituality or Kemetic science or whatever you're dealing with, all of them have the basic fundamentals of the laws that I was speaking about earlier.
So here's the thing, brother, right? I understand you have to help your neighbors. I understand that. So how we do with that, brother, is that have one foot helping black people and then the other foot helping your neighbors. You see the difference, bro? We haven't broken the law, you know, we haven't taken it away. But what we're doing is, because we understand, brother, you see, one thing I respect about the Honorable Marcus Garvey, he didn't want to change or get rid of our religion because he understood. He was a genius, right? It's just that he just wanted us to have, right, a black agenda first. So with this, I understand the Abrahamic followers, right? Help the black people, one foot in, make sure half of your wealth is building up the community. Make sure you're finding time to get them housed and etc. And then if a non-African person needs the same thing, right? You have one foot in with them. You haven't dismantled the law. You understand?
Yeah.
But the problem is what we do, brother. We just have both our feet in the non-African people, and you're leaving out the black people. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? If you do both, right, you haven't abandoned the law. You understand? You've helped out black people and you've helped out non-black people. Look at that. You see what I'm saying, brother? Nothing's been changed. Nothing's been changed at all. But because we're unsynchronized, brother, we say to ourselves, why should I help only why should I just help the black people? They ain't done nothing for us. We don't like each other anyway and that. So I'm just gonna help non-African people. This is where it's unsynchronized because the law typifies what you help both out, but you're only gonna help one out. It don't make no sense.
Well, do you know what? It sends my mind back to that old school film, Pulp Fiction, where the man says he's his brother's keeper. And I think that that's the real ideology that within my science or religion that I'd really be looking to come with. Because regardless of whether you're Israelite or not, you're still my brother. And
Of
I'm my
course.
brother's keeper. So I've got to make sure that we're good first before I start thinking outside the box. And I definitely agree with that. Like, I'd never go against that. I think that, like I said, me personally, at this moment in time, I'm not with a black woman, but you know, I still wouldn't say because I'm not with a black woman that I'm going to be integration first. I'm still me first, regardless of who I'm with. So me being black and growing up in society, knowing that we're disenfranchised and, you know, maybe some of us and the white people get on, but on the whole, on a systematic level, we don't really see eye to eye. So I can't really put them in the same position as my brothers and my sisters. I have to put my brothers and sisters first and say, well, technically it's still us against them, even if some of us get on.
The thing is, brother, I don't want to mention your profession, but the thing is, brother, if you were to teach, right, our youth, right, at least once a day, right, you're still helping out people out. You know, I understand, brother, you've made a decision and it's none of my business and it is what it is. You understand? But you're very valuable because of the profession, what you do, brother. That can help the youth and black people in general. You understand? That's very important. So contribute in that, brother, whether it's your family members and non-family black members, right? Your family members, right, and your non-family members, right, as it pertains to black people, just teaching them things, brother, is very, very important. You understand? You're still contributing. You understand? We don't have to focus on our, you know, partners' choice that we've made with them because it's about building for the community. You see, this is why, brother, you notice when I'm on platforms, brother, I'm aware who is not with a non-African person. I never attack them for it. You see, the non-Africans, right, they're very clever. They want to use weaknesses to dissever synchronization. You understand, brother? Right? And I never fall for it because I understand the enemies. You understand how
It's
they
funny you
think.
say that because
Yeah.
imagine the other day we was having a conversation, yeah. I'm saying like, what was I saying? I think I went to Sainsbury's or something, yeah. And I must have went into Sainsbury's to buy something. There was some Eastern European woman standing outside. Everyone just walking past her. All the white people just walking past her, just looking at her like she's shit. I felt a little bit sorry for her, and I gave her a little bit of change, only a tenner or something. So when I come back to the shop later on in the day, she's still there. Now I'm walking past and I just like waved, and like, you know, acknowledged her, like saying hello. The woman's blanked me and looked at me like, in fact, she didn't blank me. She looked at me like, who the hell am I waving at? And then just turned her head the other way and walked off like she was gonna go and talk to some next people. After I just I'm the only one that I see give you money when you're standing there looking mash up in the rain. And then I said to myself, you know what? From that point, I said, you know what? I'm not doing no charity with you people. Cause if you're gonna turn up your face like that, I noticed some of the white man they're not really like that. If you give them a little something, they'll even held you up and like, cool mate, you're right, whatever. But it just kind of pushed my buttons. I said, you know what? That same day, I said, you know what? I'm gonna do some charity for just black kids, just the black kids. I see the black kids all going in Sainsbury's, and they was all buying stuff, sweets and stuff for lunch or whatever they're buying. I said, you lot get all your stuff. I'm buying it for you, innit? Yeah. And then certain panelists who was on the panel when I was speaking about it, it was like, well, what about the white kids? Certain particular panelists as well. And then it was like, well, what about them then? Well, why are you going to buy for the black ones and not the white ones? Now, before it got to why are you going to buy for the black ones and not the white ones, it was, well, should you be even buying stuff for people's kids? Don't you see something wrong with that? But it was like, it turned from seeing something wrong with that to they saw an even bigger wrong in me saying I'm only buying for the black kids. And it's like, hold on. Is that unethical code of conduct we're talking about now? I can't even buy for my own people.
And this is the thing, brother, being made to feel bad by thinking about your people. Here's the thing, brother, because you follow the law, right? And this is just an advice. It would be better for you, brother, anytime you see a homeless white person, a homeless brown person, black person, red person, yellow person, brother, it would be better to buy them some food instead of giving them money, because the fear, brother, of your charitable work that the Creator has allowed you to have, and perhaps you may be aiding them with some form of recreational drugs or whatever, and using your hard-earned money for. Whereas if you buy them some food, brother, or something like that, you still get the honorable reward that the Creator has allowed you to get. Just some advice we got for you.
Yeah, I definitely hear that advice still. Yeah, I think that when you say unethical code of practice, sometimes it's difficult for people to put that in practice and see what it looks like in its truest form. And I think that when I was in that firing line for saying I'm only going to buy for the black kids, that's when it became really truly apparent to me that, you know what, this unethical code of conduct is so deep, it's going to try and poison me against my own and poison me against betterment and enrichment of my own for the sake of saving theirs. So even though at first it was, well, you shouldn't be buying for the kids, but now I'm only buying for the black kids, it's like, no, why can't you buy for the white kids too? But a minute ago it was I wasn't allowed to buy for kids. That was a crime. But as soon as it was only black kids, now it's like, nah, it's cool to buy for kids, but make sure you buy for all of them. It's like, that don't cut it. That don't cut it.
And this is the thing, is that's why, for example, brother, perhaps you could enlighten me, right? I'm sure in the old scriptures, does the Creator say that the Israelites are only supposed to what's that verse, man? It's something to do with sticking with their own tribe because of the other nations' influence. It's something like that.
Yeah.
If you could help me out with that.
Yep. So basically, Israelites had a habit of falling into other people's customs and doing things that went against the Most High and XYZ when mingling with other cultures. So to that effect, definitely. And we see it with the Canaanites. When the Israelites are around the Canaanites, you see a lot of idol worship and XYZ. When they're around the Gentiles also, you see a lot of defecting from Israelite faith to whatever the Gentiles around them are doing and other peoples. And yeah, definitely. I think that we're living in an age now where, due to Yeshua and his arrival, where we're supposed to be a little bit more open-minded to other people, but not on the whole. Not because it's like, if I read the Bible's going to tell me some of the Gentiles are pure of heart, but it's not telling me all of them. Whereas when I read the Bible and I pick up the Bible, it's going to talk to me about that God's people. He's talking about all of them. He's talking about the whole nation of Israel being redeemed, and Elamites being redeemed, and XYZ. So we're talking talking about not half the, we're talking about the whole thing in that comparison.
Right.
You know, any black people across the planet that identify in that way, it identifies them, doesn't it? But as far as Gentiles, we can't say the same, innit? We can only say that some of them are good and some of them might be cool, but majority, not so much, to be fair. They're really, they're more into their pagan rituals, as we see with the Christianity, with the Christmas and the Valentine's Day, and, you know, all of these Easter bunnies and deities that have been inserted by the so-called Christian.
Because that, you see, that strategy there is very effective, because you know that we have kind of been in that situation. We're very multicultural in regards to our agenda. Do you understand? Nothing is for us. So look at that law there. That's a very powerful, that could be applied to black people when it comes to the economics. You understand? Like, you know, make sure that you build, because if you don't, you know what I mean, the other nations will capitalize on it and you end up with nothing. Like I was on one of the groups I was in, Son Sister was explaining that the guy who owns Amazon, I can't remember his name, right? He's he's bought or he's investing in the black woman's you know, hair salons, you know, with all the, you know, the hair textures. He's invested in that. Now, if he makes that mainstream marketable, do you know what that means for us?
Go on.
That means, brother, whereas the Asians, right, they were marketing it, he's gonna make all the non-African people benefit more off that hair product, which is bought into. Now, this is what I'm saying, brother, when it comes to the economics of how do we apply that law where the Most High said to the Israelites, don't go out of the race. You understand what I'm saying, brother? Because you may fall into this, get manipulated. You understand? What's your opinion on applying that law in this situation?
In applying that law, I'd say I totally agree with you when you say going outside of your race, because if I look at the Israelites in the sense of Israelites will always say things like the seed is from the father, X, Y, Z. So if a woman comes into the Israelite race, her children will become Israelite. But if a man comes into the Israelite race, the children of that man will be whatever he is. So to some extent, I definitely agree with what you're saying to that effect, according to scripture. Now, as far as us amalgamating with other tribes and joining or allowing other people to join the tribe, I believe this wasn't absolutely prohibited, but they had to be subservient to us and our mindset and way of life. So because, you know, the white man within the society that we live in generally is not going to be subservient to us, our mindset and our way of life and our rules and laws and, you know, religion. They're going to have their altered version. For that reason, I'd have to say it's not really possible to fully integrate like that. It's not really possible. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, only based on the fact that, like I said, the seed is from the father. I believe that as a black man, it may be possible for a black man to have a woman that's not black and still have black children. But for the woman, according to the Israelite faith, it may not be the same parameters, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So, as I was saying with the economics thing now, because remember, there are people, the non-African people that are capitalizing off our inventions, and we're not profiting it. So when it comes to that law in regards to could we use that for that as well?
I believe so. I believe so to some extent. And I believe also, even in the sense of you've got this what's the thing when you make an idea? What do you do to copyright it? What's the name of it called again?
The patent. The patent. Yeah.
So you got this idea of something called a patent, and all of these type of things are within the law. So to some extent, depending on what law your patent is held under, that may not even be a legal patent. And this may be the reason why you look at certain places like China, and it seems they've got a knockoff version of everything. And they've got all the technology to make everything. And no one can't stop them from making it. And I think that's based on the fact that the laws that they're using to make the patent are inferior. So, you know, we could, with real law at our will, you know, we could probably create a patent that was even more powerful to protect our personal ideas. And even certain things that have been patented before and certain ideas that have come before us, it would enable us to be able to use them anyway, because the patent's not legal. So we could literally take someone else's idea and make it our idea, and there's nothing they could do about it. They couldn't tell us about no patent, nothing. We could mass produce it, sell it wherever we want. As long as we understand the law and the law's on our side, in our favor, how can we lose?
Now you mentioned about the Chinese, and from a political analysis, what I noticed with them is that they've basically done Poundland.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, bro?
I should laugh.
And the thing is, right, it's that the fact that they have replicated and marketed to, like, you know, those who how can I put this now? Those who are not well off, right? They've made it very economical globally as well.
Yeah.
So this is something where we as a people have to kind of understand when it comes to this economic. How do we market things when we're rivaling with those who are replicating things and made it a Poundland, so to say, man? Like, what strategies could we put forward to compete with that?
I think the kind of strategies that we should be working on as African people, really, I believe a lot of it lies, like I said, in the Pan-Africanism, in going back to Africa and creating some of the infrastructure that's needed to improve the standard and the longevity of life. So infrastructure like, you know, power stations, solar plants, water irrigation, things like obviously farming and commerce are obviously going to come into play as well. But I think it's more to do with things like building roads and infrastructure than anything else. And once we can get our professionals, you know, who are within Western societies a lot of the time as well, to go home or go to Africa and, you know, apply our skills, apply our knowledge. Like you said, if a brother's got knowledge of a building trade, he can teach 10 other guys who wouldn't necessarily have had access to that information other than by the internet. So, you know, sometimes you need that hand-on experience. And if we can implement stuff like that and, you know, create an infrastructure that's not only sustainable, but also able to alleviate the people of some of the costs of living, I think that would definitely make a big difference.
Big difference. Big. Because
100%.
I mean, look what's happening in the Caribbean. I mean, I haven't been to the Caribbean since the 90s, rubbish, because, you know, when we're dealing on my dad's side, my dad's like from Spanish Town, Kingston. So it's been a long time. And like now, you know, it's I've been told that it's way completely different now. You know what I mean? You've got more. I do remember there was a couple Chinese people, just a couple, you know what I mean? But it weren't as much as now. And you know, watching that video on different platforms, man, and hearing that that mountain woman just kind of denying, you know, the ancestry, you know, is very it's horrific, man, because you could never do that to them. You know what I mean? They make it perfectly clear that there's no such thing as Black Chinese, even though we know, you know, they have a thing called, is it Father Sin from the Canaanite lineage?
Yeah.
And you know about Heath, don't you? Canaan's two. No, is it? No, Heath and Sidon. Sorry, his two sons, and then from there they had. I don't know if you know about that or.
It does ring a bell, but I'll let you continue.
Yeah, so there's the Chinese they say about Father Sin, and Father Sin, it comes from the Canaanite lineage, and they trace it back to him. But the point is that they have abrogated hidden Black Chinese and Black Japanese. So the fact that that woman can kind of deny or control the African human rights just so she can claim the economics over there, it's not good, brother, man. It's not good, man.
It's funny because it came up in one of the videos earlier. They were showing the Shaolin masters training in the temple, and then they showed the walls around them, and it's all black faces on the walls. It's like, whoa.
Look at that. You know, look at that, man.
So all the Kung Fu masters from way back before them, the first ones, they were all black.
All of them. Every last one of them. You know what I mean? Because do you remember the Kung Fu film? Remember, have you seen the one-armed boxer? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Do you remember that the black skin looking one that they're trying to make it an Indian, but even that again, that goes against what's it? I can't remember his name. H. Even that goes against him as well, because it's like, brah, you know, there's black llamas. So, you know, it just makes you think, bro, man, like we have to kind of economically combat the disorganization what we've done, man. You know, we have to find these ways, and Garvey said we have to sell the product to black people, make it cool again, you know, economically, etc. So, you know, we definitely have to find strategies, man. You know what I mean?
I think a definite strategy we have to look at incorporating is, I think too many of us who have been born into Western societies, we only feel cool, and well, not me personally, but a lot of us only feel cool and feel like they are living life to a good standard when they're in control of or have the ability to purchase European goods, European clothes, European everything. Some of us just don't feel good without it. And I think that that's a tragedy, because we should be able to feel good in our own clothes. We should be able to feel good just dressing like Africans. We should be able to feel good without having to, you know, watch their TV program or play on their game system. We should have our own one, just like the Chinese man. The Chinese man said, you know what? The Americans, they came up with the idea of computer game, all of these things. The Chinese man said, all right, you know what? If it's going to be computer, we're going to make our own one. We're going to call it Nintendo. And you know what? We're going to sell our one to our people. And if you don't want one, you can buy one of our ones, but we ain't buying yours.
Yeah.
But remember, none of them companies, Amstrad, Commodore, none of them things weren't big in Japan or just China. None of them places.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And what's his name? Gerard Lawson, African American. He's the one that invented the cartridge.
Yeah.
Which the Chinese and Japanese, well, particularly the Japanese, because they're more marketable now in the game thing, which they base their blueprint off that. So look at that there, man. They've just capitalized on our invention, and look, they've taken it to the next level, man. You know, next
100%.
level.
But then the reason that I think you was right in the sense of the reason they're able to capitalize on our inventions is because we're trapped in the parameters of their system, their financial systems arrangements isn't going to allow for a black man to paint an idea like that and own it outright. They're going to have to take something from us.
Yeah, I agree, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Sheffer, brother Kel, listen,
Yes,
man.
King.
I'm finna wrap it up, brothers. I really
Say no more.
appreciate this, man.
Yeah. Good
Really
discussion, though, brothers. Brother
Come on.
Bond, big up, brother. Brother
No.
Shifa all the time, brother. Article done.
No.
Yeah, man. Big up, man.
Appreciate
I
you, brother.
appreciate y'all, brothers, man. Listen, man, I'm gonna open the store, open the shop, so as brothers we can dialogue together, man. I'm gonna try and do this more often, man.
Yeah.
Shiffer, you still got your Discord, Shiffer?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna reach out on Discord, man. We can set some up, man. We can do some shows. I definitely want to get you to arrive back on the panel when I get the ISUPK brother on here.
Yeah, man, make sure, man. Like at the end of the day, it's good for all of us because all of this, like these talk shows, I'm learning all the time. Even though I got information, I'm learning all the time. Man. I love these convos. So, bro, anytime you guys need me here, I'm here for the
I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. When's the debate? This Sunday, is it? This Sunday? Is the debate this Sunday, Shifa?
I'm not sure. Did you say Sunday?
Kel, maybe not this Sunday. He said he has to get it approved.
Okay.
Yeah, he wanted to know the topics and the date and the time. So I gave him a date, a time, and the topics. He said he has to get it approved by the captains and the generals, and then he'll if it's approved, then he'll let me know. But yeah, okay, I'm gonna come and promote it, man. I'm gonna have the brother on to do like a preliminary.
Yeah.
And Kel, I want y'all brothers to arrive on the panel, and
of course, bro, man.
Yeah, we'll do a preliminary, man. I want to do this right, man. I'm gonna do it with people like the debates, bro. I'm noticing that's what people like, man. People like the debate, so let's get it popping. You know what I mean?
When's your next podcast, brother?
We're dropping Wednesday, guys, ladies and gentlemen. We are dropping Wednesdays. This Wednesday. We drop every other Wednesday.
Right.
So we're dropping this Wednesday, man. Born Rich Club podcast, man. Get y'all ass over there, man.
You don't know.
Over there. Yeah, we're gonna drop Wednesday. I'll be dropping clips. Sunday, I'll drop a teaser on Sunday.
Right.
And yeah, man. And then we dropping Wednesday, Kel. I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate that.
Of course, man. Every time, man. Big up, Kings. Big up, man. I'm out then. Big up.
Man, salute, Kel. And salute to my brother Schiffer, man. 100, man. Great panelist. That brother is doing this thing, man. Catch brother Schiffer. Schiffer, tell the people where they can find you at, Schiffer.
Whoa, do you know what? I got a single dropping on the 24th of this month, 24th of February. So you can catch me on all platforms, Spotify, YouTube, you name it. The tune's going to be out there, iTunes, all of that good stuff. So look it up, Schiffer, Bars Like Me. That's what the BLM stands for. Yeah. Or you can catch me on my channel, Schiffer Don on YouTube. And you can catch me on the Born Rich podcast too, man, or hopefully at some point, and on the Born Rich show, Club Films, all of that good stuff. That's my dog.
Nah, we getting that, man. We definitely gonna do that, man. And Schiffer, I appreciate that, brother, man. 100, man. Listen, guys, y'all make sure y'all get y'all ass over there to the Born Rich Club podcast, man. We got content dropping, man. We dropping. And another thing, I want to shout out to the people who already subscribed. So at the end of the day, man, when we do hit fucking 200,000 subscribers, I can say, man, my UK family is like 400 or 500 of those subscribers, man. Real talk, real family. And I really appreciate y'all. Shout out to the American brothers and sisters, man. Y'all know what it is, man. You know what I mean? Y'all fuck with me by default. So shout out to y'all, man. Listen, man. If nobody told you today that they love you, let me be the first person to tell you today that I love you. I love you. I love you.
I built this shit. Me. by brick. And I'll be damned if I let you tear it down just because you don't like the way another nigga talk. Drive, motherfucker!